BUSTS.com to get started.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. If you don't know, now you know. Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, 4 days a week, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. Central Time. Grab your lunch. Come join us. We'll have a whole lot of fun. We will talk Husker sports, college football, sports in general, unique insight, unbridled honesty. And like I said, producer Jake and I will have a whole lot of fun in the process. And on Wednesdays, don't forget to tune in. Former All-American Nebraska quarterback, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Steve Taylor drops that knowledge, and then one-on-one with DP, 12 to 1 p.m. every day, 5 days a week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. It's a loaded 2 hours here on 93.7, The Ticket, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. This show is so loaded today, I literally had to call Jake. And I'm like, all right, like, I got a few too many topics. Which ones are we going to prioritize? So we're going to talk Nebraska women's basketball. We've got an interview at 11:30 with some pro wrestlers. All right. You want to let the fine folks know a little bit about them real quick, Jake?
Yeah, the Outrunners are going to be coming on. Of course, AEW coming to Omaha tomorrow night. So the Outrunners, they're a fun group. I've got their theme song in one of their bits they did with FTR, another group in AEW. So we can play those at some point to get us ready for them. But it's going to be fun. Their whole thing is they're kind of a throwback 80s type wrestlers. So they have VHS type intros, and they're kind of the Macho Man Randy Savage type of gimmick. So it's going to be a lot of fun.
I'm looking forward to that. 11:30. All right, 11:45, 11:50-ish, depending on how long Jake talks today, are the ESPN debate shows. I believe they're negatively impacting sports and pro sports, and even the NBA specifically. Are they ruining pro sports? And this was actually kind of prompted by a couple of different things. I got 4 tweets here. My good buddy Robert Griffin III, RG3, put out. And I'm going to read those, and then Jake and I can discuss that as well. All right, in the top of the hour. Nebraska's had too many transfer portal busts. I briefly went through last year's transfer portal class, and there are 4 players that immediately stood out to me. And to use the B word is a little bit harsh. There's 5 players I'm going to talk about. All right, none of them are here this year. Now, some of that's because they were seniors. Some of that's because they left. Some of that's because they weren't the best player going into this season. At least that wasn't the projection. Nebraska cannot afford starting O-linemen, running backs, wide receivers to not produce if you're going to bring them in and expect them to make an impact on the field and pay them a whole lot of moolah now, which is what happens to college football players. Nebraska can't afford any more transfer portal busts. And did you know that Nebraska has 2 of the top 20 transfer portal players in America that have come in this offseason? All right, so we're going to discuss that as well. Why the women's sports teams at Nebraska seem to be ahead of the men right now? Why in the world would that be? Because it seems to be that case. And there's 3 things that immediately stood out to me that I'm going to go through. And obviously Jake is going to chime in, give us his thoughts as well. And former athletic director here at the University of Nebraska, Bill Moose, is going to join us at 12:30 as well. Right off the top. All right. Couple of Husker Sports Roundup updates, finalizations we weren't able to get to yesterday, but these things are things to keep your eye on. Nebraska's wrestling team. The Huskers are headed to Philadelphia for the NCAA Championships. The Nebraska wrestling team travels to Philadelphia for the 2025 NCAA Championship to round out their season. The 3-day tournament will consist of 6 sessions beginning Thursday morning at the Wells Fargo Center. 9 Huskers represent the Big Ten runner-up team. All right, Penn State was first. Nebraska was second. The Big Ten runner-up team, which is the Huskers in this year's national championship field, all earning automatic bids as a result of their finishes at the conference championships. All right, last season, the Huskers finished 9th with 60.5 team points. All right, and this was highlighted by a couple of the wrestlers' great season last year. All right. In particular, Brock Hardy, he finished third. All right. And you had 5 All-Americans honored a season ago as well. Now, this year, Hardy grabs the highest pre-seed for Nebraska as the number 1 at the 141-pound weight level. 4 additional Huskers are seated in the top 10. So keep your eye on Nebraska wrestling as they head and compete for some national championships. Nebraska women's gymnastics, 4 Huskers named to the All Big Ten teams. Emma Spence, all right, she just might win the Heisman Trophy, so to speak, of Nebraska women's gymnastics. All right, but Emma, Sophia McClelland, Whitney Jenks, and Emma Simpson were given Big Ten honors. All right, via the Big Ten Conference announced on Monday, Spence and McClellan were named members of the All Big Ten first team, while Jenks and Simpson were named to the All Big Ten second team. Additionally, Hallie Rourke was the Huskers sportsmanship honoree as well. So shout out to the Nebraska women's gymnastics team. Now, before I dive into Nebraska women's basketball, just a little bit to a whole lot, a bit more, tell the folks where this show is going to be on Thursday, where we're going to be on Friday, and what we're going to be talking about, at least to kick off those shows on Thursday and Friday, Jake.
Well, obviously, Thursday and Friday are 2 of the least productive work days of the year.
That the day after the Super Bowl.
Yeah, we're going to try to help out with that. We'd like you to come on down to Buffalo Wings and Rings with us over there around 68th and O. We do it every year. Ping pong balls, we have fun with that. So a team will be listed on the ping pong ball. So if you're one of the first people there at the door Thursday, you're going to have a chance to win prizes. But we give prizes away all afternoon at the top of the hour. And, of course, we will be broadcasting there. Like you said, the Adam Carriker Show. We're going to make our picks Thursday morning, and it's going to be interesting. Our show kicks off right around the time the first tip-off is between Louisville and Creighton, so it's going to be a fun start to the show.
I have no idea who I'm going to put in the Final Four yet. Like, I've got some things saved here on my computer. I'm going to do my own research, but Clark Kellogg predicts the winner. Jay Billis predicts the winner. Reese Davis, all right, the host of College Game Day for football and basketball. All right, and then Jay Billis predicts 3 major upsets. So the odds are I'm going to go completely opposite of all these guys because that's just my mentality. But I'm going to do my research. I'm going to do my recon. We will do our picks live on air as the games are kicking off. Are you rooting for Louisville or Creighton? Who are you rooting for, Jake?
I mean,
this is a big answer.
Chucky
I'm just saying.
Yeah. I mean, I this is where I do become somewhat of a Jasker. I will say I do like Nebraska representation between them and Omaha. I'd like to see a Sweet 16 bid out of Nebraska.
Dude, I am unapologetic when it comes to rooting for Nebraska teams like Nebraska Kearney, UNO, Creighton, obviously the Huskers, and all the teams across the country. Concordia, Doane. I root for them all. Now, when they play Nebraska, I'm rooting for Nebraska. Let's be clear about that. All right. So I'm a guy who roots for Nebraska teams to do well. It's kind of, and I have always likened Creighton to Big Ten teams. I'm going to root for Big Ten teams because if the conference we're in looks good, it's better for Nebraska. Now, if Creighton looks good or bad, it doesn't really affect the University of Nebraska, but it correlates with the state of Nebraska. I want the state of Nebraska. High tide raises all ships. Yeah. Now, when these teams play Nebraska, I want the Huskers to mollywop and stomp a mudhole, walk it dry in every single one of those teams. I want to make that clear, but I'm unapologetically going to root. I kind of made that word up as I went along. It's not really a made-up word. I just kind of said it like I was making it up as I went along. I'm going to root for all the Nebraska teams, unless they're playing Nebraska. All right, Nebraska women's basketball. So I've got a lot of notes here, but I'm going to try to go through it fairly quickly. All right, the Huskers clashed with the Cardinals in the first round of the NCAA tournament. Nebraska makes its 3rd NCAA tournament appearance in the past 4 seasons when the Huskers take on Louisville in the first round on Friday in Fort Worth, Texas. Tip-off between the 10-seeded Huskers, 21-11 on the year, and the number 7-seeded Cardinals, 21-10 on the year. The Cardinals have it's almost mirror images of overall records. The conference record definitely favors the Cardinals. They're 13-5. We're 10-8, but none of that matters. Well, once that opening tip-off happens, man, it's anybody can beat anybody on any given day, and that's what makes March Madness so exciting and so fun to watch. All right, live television coverage will be provided by ESPN as well. Nebraska earned its 3rd NCAA tournament bid in the past 4 years under head coach Amy Williams, despite playing the past 27 games without 2024 Big Ten freshman of the year Natalie Potts, who suffered a season-ending injury against North Alabama on November 19th. Potts was averaging a team best 17.5 points and 8 rebounds through the first 4 games prior to her injury. The Huskers have played the last 16 games without 4th-year guard Allison Wiedner, who was a starter as a freshman on Nebraska's 2022 NCAA tournament in Louisville. Dude, so we've talked about this a little bit. Potts probably would have been right there with Markowski. Britt Prince is absolutely one of our two best players, but I think it would have been between Potts and Markowski for our best overall player. Okay. Then you talk about Allison Weiner, who we have not talked about enough here. I mean, she started as a true freshman 3 years ago? That's 40% of your best players not available, and maybe 50%, if not higher, of your best players not available. So Nebraska, they're like, what is it, a 2-point dog to Louisville? Yeah, this is March Madness. Anything can happen. They can still get into the second round just like they did a year ago when they beat A&M. Maybe they get to the Sweet 16. Have the women ever been to the Sweet 16? I don't believe so. But do you know that?
I think in like 2000.
Did they?
I think 2012. Let me double check.
Yeah, double check that for me if you don't mind. But my question for you, Jake, like I think Amy Williams has done a phenomenal job of coaching this team this year. Injuries are a part of the game. It happens with everybody. Like we mentioned, baseball, Will Bolt losing his ace pitcher. Again, it's a part of the game, though. It is what it is. Ohio State wins the national title after losing 40% of their starting offensive line. Their center, who won the Remington Award, did not play in their last 6 games. He won the Remington Award, by the way, without playing in their last 6 games. Of course, 4 of those were playoff games. Okay, that's how good he was. And then their left tackle goes down, so they move their All-American left guard to left tackle. And they found a way to get it done. It obviously makes things harder, but that comes back to coaching, and that's one of the things that I believe Amy Williams has done a phenomenal job of making adjustments, calling appropriate audibles throughout this year, and a phenomenal job of coaching this year. As up and down as this team has been this year. To be a 10 seed in the tournament with the injuries that they've dealt with and battled with, and man, if you are 100% healthy, I wonder what Nebraska could have done, and I'm still excited to see what they will do in this tournament. But what do you think about that, Jake? What are your thoughts on all that? And did you get confirmation, yay or nay?
Yeah, so it's 2010 and 2013. They were able to make it to the Sweet 16. Have not been beyond that, though. So that's what they'll be looking at. I said it before. This game against Louisville is definitely going to be interesting with Jada Curry. If she's going to be able to play, how healthy she will be, Louisville's star player. I see a problem with TCU. If they could beat TCU in the next round, who's going to have to play Fairleigh Dickinson, should win that game. TCU, one of the favorites in this tournament. That's where you really have to stand up and see where Nebraska this year has had trouble and played well against UCLA this last time out. So maybe that gives you some hope. But, up against the upper echelon top 10 teams in the country, TCU could certainly be considered one of those. So that's kind of the next step, that kind of tier system that we do. But that's why we play the games. That's why March Madness is the way it is. Who knows what can happen?
Dude, I'm going to let my bias show through just a little bit, but this doesn't make it any less true. The games where Nebraska women's basketball looked the worst this year. I think back to the second Iowa game in Pinnacle Bank Arena. Okay, a couple other games as well. It was the games where Britt Prince was out, but she missed 2 or 3 games towards the end of the year. It was the game she was out. And that Iowa game, there was a lot of sick players, and she went home that night, basically was puking in the locker room, and it was incredibly sick. And it wasn't just her, to be clear. And I'm not giving them excuses. What I'm saying is this team, from what I understand, is fully healthy now with everyone that we anticipate to be healthy at this point. And you got to feel a lot better about that, because when you look at, oh man, those were some ugly games at times and some great wins. You think about at Maryland, their best win since 2013, beat a top 17 team for the first time on the road in about a dozen years. It was when they were healthy. There wasn't an illness. There wasn't an injury. By the way, rooting for Fairleigh Dickinson, just saying. All right. Real quick, I want to mention this. All right, make sure to join 93.7 The Ticket's Bracket Challenge on ESPN's Tournament Challenge app. Join the group by going to 93.7 The Ticket's Twitter page and clicking on the link. The tweet with the link is pinned at the top of the page. It is completely free, and the top brackets will win prizes from 93.7 The Ticket. So fill out your bracket today before Thursday's tip-off. The first game, as we mentioned, starts at 11:15 a.m. Central Time on Thursday, so make sure you pick a champion before then. Jake and I are going to start picking our champion at 11. While we're sitting there J-scurring out. Oh, don't say that. That's a bad joke. While we're sitting there rooting for Creighton because it makes the state of Nebraska look a little bit better. All right. Well, how much? And again, we don't know what could happen. They could lose by 30. They can make a run to the Elite Eight. That's what makes March Madness so much fun. But how much better could they have been had they been fully healthy this entire season?
Oh man, I mean, that's, again, it's something you would love to have seen. like you said, it was one of their top players in Natalie Potts that you lose. So that's in any case, that's always going to hurt you. So it was good. I think you would probably say they could move. At times they're flirting with the top 25. Maybe could have been kind of in that category a little bit higher. They're coming in as 10 seed. You maybe think could have risen up to maybe a 6 or 7 seed, maybe even more than that. So I don't know. It's one of those deals. So always having every sport, every team, there's always an injury that makes you wonder what could have been.
Yeah, it's part of the game. And they were, if you remember, they were ranked earlier on this year. I think it was in December, but they were ranked in the top 25. All right, Nebraska will be hunting its 10th all-time NCAA victory while trying to advance to the second round for the second straight year after defeating our good buddies from down at Texas A&M 61-59 last season in the first round of Corvallis, Oregon. The Huskers are led by 4-time All-Big Ten center Alexis Markowski, who is surging down the stretch, playing great basketball right now. The Lisa Leslie Award midseason finalist leads Nebraska with 16.5 points and 8 rebounds. She recorded her 12th double-double this season and 52nd of her career. She's a walking double-double. 52nd of her career with 19 points and 10 rebounds against Rutgers. Big Ten all-freshman Britt Prince averaged 17 points, 5.3 assists in the Big Ten tournament. She played so well in that Big Ten tournament, by the way, which is one of the reasons they were able to beat Rutgers and beat Illinois and play really well against UCLA. If she can continue that in the NCAA tournament, it could be interesting. We'll see what happens. All right, Prince has scored in double figures each of the past 4 games after missing 2 games. It was 2 games, Oregon and Washington, with a lower leg injury suffered in the closing minutes of a loss at Illinois on February 16th. All right, Nebraska has produced its third 20-win season in the last 4 years by working its way to a 21-11 record entering the NCAA tournament. The 2024-2025 season marks Nebraska's 20th 20-win season in history, including a top victory total of 32 in 2009-2010. Nebraska owns 9 20-win campaigns from 09 to 10 to 2024-2025. Nebraska owns 4 20-win seasons under Coach Amy Williams, including a 23-12 record in 2023. All right. Nebraska owns 6 wins over top 50 teams. Okay, you're talking about Michigan State, Iowa, who are number 21, 24, number 28, Maryland, number 32, Illinois. Okay, they are 6-11 against the 2025 NCAA tournament field with wins over Maryland, Iowa, Michigan State, Illinois, Oregon, and Southern. All 11 of Nebraska's losses have come to NET top 15 teams, including 6 away from home. Alexis Markowski continues her solid play with team best of 16.5 points, 8 rebounds. Okay, let's see what we got next here. All right, we talked about some of these injuries, but they actually dedicated their season to Allison Wiedner, Natalie Potts, okay? And some other players have stepped up and played really, really well. Jessica Petrie should be shouted out. All right, freshman Amaya Hargrove should be shouted out. Petra Bozen, the 6'5 center. So we want to shout out everyone that we possibly can who has played well so far this season. All right, back to Markowski. 1,890 points, ranks number 7 on Nebraska's career scoring list. She needs 10 points to reach 1,900 in her career. All right, she is also second in Husker history with 1,200 career rebounds. All right, Janet Smith is the record holder with 1,280. Markowski has 1,210. All right. Let's see what else we got here. Britt Prince owns 389 points and 170 rebounds as a true freshman point guard for the Huskers. Nebraska's WNBA first-round draft picks, Lindsey Moore and Nicole Kubik, did not achieve either 300 points or 100 rebounds as true freshmen as starting point guards at Nebraska. And one of my favorite players on this team. All right, Kaylin Hake has, 99 assists, needs 1 more to reach 100 on the season. If you just Google Nebraska women's basketball and go to pictures, because when I'm posting on social media, I like to post pictures when I'm posting stuff. About a third of the pictures are Kaylin just being excited, being happy, pumping people up, being emotional, in a positive way. She's someone who needs to be talked about more and one of my favorite players on this team. All right. Any final thoughts before we go to break and then we do a little wrestling interview? For me, I'm just gonna put it out there. I've got Nebraska women's basketball winning their first game, and then they're going to, I don't know, I got to see who they play next, but I got them winning the first game. I'm going to give away my first pick of both men's and women's NCAA tournament brackets. I got Nebraska beating Louisville my bias is showing through. What do you got, Jake? What do you think?
Yeah, I do think they're going to have, we're obviously got the cheering interest there. It's going to be a good game. I think they can beat Louisville, especially with the injury concern. Like I said, on Louisville's side, I think Nebraska is probably got a pretty good chance there. The TCU is likely to match up. They're number 6 in the nation. They got a 6'7" center that averages 17 and 10, and Haley Van Lith. So that's going to be an obstacle to overcome, but I do think they can get past Louisville.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, when we come back, we're going to interview Truth Magnum of the Outrunners Pro Wrestling Tag Team. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an advocate you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you need. Advocates you deserve. That's 877-42-LIBERTY or libertylawnebraska.com.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Underground, who has been serving local contractors and utility contractors all across the state since 1997. When you see the black and white trucks, you know the baddest dudes in the business have arrived. Bauer is currently looking for equipment operators, laborers, diesel mechanics, and aerial linemen. Join the brotherhood built on hard work, authentic people, and pedigree of success. Bauer, a family-friendly company who reminds you, go Big Red!
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is bringing back Bowl for Kids' Sake. Create a team, raise donations, and join the bowling celebration at Sun Valley Lanes and Games on May 2nd. Every contribution helps to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships for Lincoln's young people. Learn more and register today at bbbsmidlands.org under the Events tab. Big Brothers Big Sisters, igniting the power and promise of Lincoln's youth for over 50 years.
Hey, what are you talking about over there?
Huh?
I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
Right now, when you drive by Honda of Lincoln, you'll see more than 200 new Hondas and over 125 pre-owned vehicles. Hi, Charlie Stone here, and with me on the line is Andy Goodyear of Honda of Lincoln. Andy, how does it feel to have so many vehicles in stock again for your customers?
Charlie, it feels amazing to see how excited our customers are. They love the ability to see, test drive, and take immediate delivery of the exact new Honda they're looking for.
Do you have some good offers to talk about?
We sure do, Charlie. We're offering financing as low as 0.9% APR up to 72 months or great lease rates on every new Honda. It's the perfect time to drive away in the new Honda you've been dreaming of.
How about pre-owned, Andy?
We have over 125 pre-owned and certified pre-owned vehicles to choose from. Just about every make and model with prices starting at under $10,000.
Maybe it's time you experience the best, the Honda of Lincoln way of doing business. 27th and Yankee Hill Road or online at hondaoflincoln.com.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and 0.
Hey volleyball fans, this is Laura Dijkema, national player of the Netherlands and now the setter on Omaha's newest professional team, Love Omaha Volleyball. League volleyball is bringing the heat this year. Don't miss your chance to see Olympians, national players and national champions right here in Omaha from now through April. We can't wait to see you cheering for us in the stands. Visit lovboma.com to buy single match tickets to see me and Love Omaha Volleyball in action. Go Big Green!
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, we have not yet received the phone call to do that wrestling interview. So we are going to debate just how bad the ESPN debate shows are negatively impacting pro sports. And if they call in, then we will do said interview. All right. Robert Griffin on Twitter said, "Dear sports fans, this is a safe space." He likes to say that a lot. "Do you think debate shows and formats have destroyed sports media? Why or why not?" He goes, "I'll start. Debate shows have destroyed the way sports are covered. They prioritize creating drama." I agree. Controversy, I agree. Sensationalism over substance, I agree. To drive engagement, whether good or bad, at the cost of the truth and integrity. I agree with it all. Why? Money, fame. This is still Robert, even though I'm chiming in here, this is still Robert's tweet. Hot takes, manufacture player criticism, and toxic discourse are not sports analysis. Making it personal with players, attacking their character, questioning their parenting, questioning who they are dating, who they may have voted for in a presidential election is not sports analysis. It's gossip. All right. Not all debate shows are the same, and not all people are on those debate shows lack integrity. Yet the facts are the impact. I think we're getting a call here. All right. Yet the facts are the impact of debate shows have damaged the industry in a way that makes conflict, negativity, and driving negative narratives the main attraction. When it is the greatness and accomplishments of the athletes that is supposed to be the main attraction. You know, the great athletes in the world. Anyone can gossip and entertain. Some do it better than others. Do we have a call? All right, so we're going to pause that. Hold that thought. All right, and at this point in time, are they ready to be brought on air there, Jake?
They are.
All right, we are going to be joined by Truth Magnum of the Outrunners Pro Wrestling Tag Team Duo. How you doing, Truth?
Good, how are you?
Dude, I appreciate you taking the time to join me. So we've watched you guys. You just got out of a feud with the Hurt Syndicate. All right, Bobby Lashley, MVP, Shelton Benjamin. But you guys are highly entertaining. My co-host, Jake's a big-time wrestling fan, just like I am. He likens you guys to Macho Man Randy Savage. But do you have, is it Macho Man, is it anybody else who's inspired you guys as you're developing what you're doing in pro wrestling?
Well, if you've seen the Outrunners, you know one thing. We are two absolute originals. But if I had to go back and think about somebody that I loved watching, somebody that I can't get enough of myself, that'd be the one, the only Mr. Perfect. He does everything just absolutely perfect.
Yeah, in truth, it is good. Again, Truth Magnum joining us here as part of the Outrunners from AEW. AEW will be in town in Omaha tomorrow. And you guys were, like we said, close to that tag team championship. It's got to be fun to see, you guys get so close. What's going to make up the difference, I suppose? Or will we see the Outrunners on top here in the next year or so?
It's just a matter of time before you see the Outrunners on top. Yes, we had our shot against the Hurt Syndicate, but guess what? It's not about getting knocked down. It's not about how many times you get knocked down. It's about knocking the other guy down, and that's what the Outrunners are specialists at.
I'm curious, what's it like working? Now, Tony Khan's been doing this as the owner of AEW 5-6 years now. He's obviously a lifelong, big-time pro wrestling fan. But what's it like working for a guy like Tony Khan?
Well, Tony Khan, there's no doubt about it. He's an outstanding businessman. He runs AEW. He runs the Jaguars. He has a soccer team. But I'll give him credit for one thing. Above and beyond all that, he saw something in the Outrunners, and he signed us to Legends deals, AEW Legends deals, and I got to give him credit for that.
So I got to ask you, obviously wrestling, you got to go throughout your career, you're where you are now. You've probably had different gimmicks over the years. What brought you guys to this kind of 80s throwback wrestler? Because I mean, it's helping. I mean, merchandise sales has been great for what you guys have been doing. It's really over with the audience. What kind of brought you to this? Is this kind of part of your character you've always been, or have you kind of evolved to this?
I respect your question, but I'll be honest with you. I don't know what a gimmick is. And I woke up like this.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. You've got to watch the Outrunners if you're not there. They kind of get excited. I did see a vignette you guys did with FTR about turning them and giving them, I think it was the juice or the stuff. What is the stuff that runs the Outrunners?
The stuff is what you see when you turn on AEW television. You see the Outrunners. We're covered in sports glass. We got meat running through our veins, and that is what the stuff is all about.
All right, you guys appear to be really good friends. You appear to be on the same page. But almost every tag team at some point has a little disagreement. Somebody turns on the other. I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but who's more likely to turn on the partner, you or your partner, if that ever happens one day?
You're stirring up things you shouldn't be stirring up. There's no way, a snowball's chance in hell that the Outrunners would ever turn on each other. Turbo is my brother, okay? And it'll stay that way forever.
That's excellent. And I know while you're in Omaha, I believe today you will be giving a seminar in Omaha for aspiring pro wrestlers. Can you just give a brief synopsis of what that will be all about and if people are interested?
Yeah, we have 20 combined years of rookie year experience that we like to give that knowledge out wherever we can. Check out our socials at Truth Magnum to learn more about that. If you want to learn from some of the best, come on down today.
So what made you want to get into pro wrestling to begin with? What inspired you? What got you excited? Why pro wrestling?
The moment I saw it, my earliest memory is watching wrestling. And ever since then, it's what I wanted to do. And I am so glad that I get to do it here in Omaha tomorrow night and show you people. Because I think when you see the Outrunners, the one thing you see, the one thing you notice without a doubt is that we have a passion for this. And I absolutely love it.
But I think people like to kind of get the behind the scenes and kind of get your feeling. How much like choice do you guys have as far as what your ring gear you're going to wear? Obviously, tag teams, you want to wear similar ring gear. Do you guys decide on that together, or what kind of goes into that sort of decision?
I don't know how it works at other places, but at AEW, it's 100% all us, and this is who we are. I tend to come up with the tights designs. I like the colors. It represents the Outrunners, so it's all us.
All right, so I got kind of an interesting question in my opinion, because there's this small promotion up north, and they recently had this wrestler on one of their shows named Hulk Hogan, and he got booed. Now, they say as long as you're getting a reaction from the crowd, whether you're getting booed or cheered, that's what matters the most. You walk out there's no reaction. That's the worst thing that can happen to a wrestler. What were your thoughts when you saw Hogan getting booed? Was that good? Was that bad? What are your thoughts?
Well, I never heard of the guy, so
me either.
So, yeah, he's getting booed, and that's a good thing.
Okay, so I'm going to phrase this. I'll phrase it I'm just going to be blunt. Do you like being a good guy or a bad guy better? Like, which one do you enjoy being more?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. When I come out and I hear those 10,000 of the Runner Nation just screaming our names, and nothing gets me more excited than that. When we're spinning, we're winning, the people are grinning.
And you guys also have the tagline, the youngest men alive. What does that mean?
Well, I mean, it's kind of self-explanatory. We are the absolute youngest men alive since the day we were born.
All right, my man. How long before you guys officially win those tag team championships?
Well, if you ask me, it's days, it's hours. It can be any moment. All the Outrunners ever need is a shot.
Do you know what we'll see tomorrow from the Outrunners as far as has it been on the card, I suppose, of who the Outrunners will be facing up against in Omaha?
Nothing is officially announced, but you can bet without a doubt we're on the show.
If there's someone out there and they're thinking about getting into pro wrestling and they're trying to figure out if it's for them, and then they decide it is for them and they want to try to get into this pro wrestling game and become an elite world-class pro wrestler, what advice would you give them?
Wrestling is more than just what you see on TV. It's a lifestyle. It's to make it to the top, to where you're getting big money and being able to do the things the Outrunners get to do, it's dedication to a lifestyle. It's working out every day. It's watching what you eat. It's studying tapes. You have to love it to stay in it long enough to make it.
You got one more, Jake? I got one last question. You got another one?
I'll go ahead.
All right. There's this guy talks about being all-state in football. He's there at AEW, wears this scarf, comes out talking trash to everybody. What's it like working with MJF?
You know, MJF was actually one of the first people that saw something in the Outrunners. As a matter of fact, our first appearance, he tweeted out, "Now look, these are real professional wrestlers." So I got to give Max credit just like I give Tony Khan credit. He's got an eye for talent.
All right, Truth, I appreciate you taking the time to join us. Good luck on Wednesday. Go kick somebody's butt.
Come on down. If you haven't seen the Outrunners in AEW, you haven't seen nothing. Yeah.
All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Go Hog Wild Pit Barbecue.
If the week's been too hectic to even think about dinner, or your family can't handle one more night of leftovers, then it's time to let Hog Wild do the cooking. Hog Wild's family packs are one heck of a good deal for a complete barbecue meal loaded with all the smoked meats, tasty sides, buns, and sauces you need to feed your family. Order online at GoHogWild.com. Hog Wild Pit Barbecue, 3210 Cornhusker Highway in Lincoln.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Have you been accused of a crime and don't know where to turn? At Liberty Law Group, we understand that a call to an attorney is a call for help. If you're up against the legal system, you need an advocate you can trust to handle your case with professionalism and compassion. Liberty Law's experienced trial attorneys are committed to the defense of liberty for those accused. Don't let a criminal charge ruin your life. Call 877-42-LIBERTY. Liberty Law Group. Trial attorneys you need. Advocates you deserve. That's 877-42-LIBERTY or libertylawnebraska.com.
Hey, it's Chad with Nutrition Authority inviting you to stop in and check out the #1 selling complete post-workout product, CPR. CPR is ideal for anyone who works out, exercises, or competes and wants to maximize results. CPR can only be found at Nutrition Authority. Stop in today, try a free sample, or visit us at mynutritionauthority.com.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with a child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
At Valentino's, we're on a mission for tradition. On every slice, for every bite. Golden baked crust, cooked to perfection every time. Savory sweet sauce that's made from our own secret recipe. Loaded with the perfect amount of fresh toppings and melty mozzarella cheese. It's the tradition that Nebraskans have come to love. From game day to every day. Valentino's. Taste the tradition.
Rosie Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road.
Love is in the air, and so are big savings. It's the Big I Do event at Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions, April 4th through the 6th. For 3 days only, enjoy 20% off all engagement rings and wedding bands, plus exclusive bridal collections from our top designers. Whether you're saying yes or I do, shop now for the year's best prices and selection. April 4th through 6th, Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and 0. This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. We were just joined by Truth Magnum of the Outrunners Pro Wrestling Tag Team AEWs in Omaha Wednesday night. Jake, they've asked me to do a run-in. The music's gonna hit.
Oh.
No, they didn't, but that'd be awesome.
Yeah.
I wouldn't mind joining the Outrunners, man. That was a fun interview. He had very short, concise, brief to the point answers, but dude, I immensely enjoyed that.
Yeah, absolutely.
He doesn't know who Hulk Hogan is. He doesn't know what a gimmick is. I love that. That's all awesome. I loved everything about that. That was a great interview. I actually want to go learn even more about them now that we got the chance to chat with Truth just a little bit. But back to the ESPN debate type and sports show debate type formats. So I read, Robert had put out 4 tweets. I read the first 2. To surmise, they create drama, controversy, sensationalism, hot takes, manufacture player criticism, over providing the facts, over talking about the actual athletes, things of that nature. Now, he did point out, okay, not everybody that's on these shows conducts himself in this way. Not everybody prioritizes this, okay? But then he goes on to say his last 2 tweets, and then you and I can debate the debate shows? Discuss. Okay, we discuss here. If you can provide analysis, constructive criticism on the sport, not make it personal, but entertaining, and do it with truth and integrity. It is hard to do it in a debate. Like, the show is designed for 2 people to yell at each other. That is the design of these shows. If you tune in and they're just calmly talking to each other, you're going to tune out. Like, that is the way the show is designed. That's what viewers expect. And so this is what it creates just by the design of the show. All right, sports media isn't supposed to be sports gossip media. Don't you miss how the media used to celebrate sports with balance? Again, this is Robert Griffin III, his 3rd of 4 tweets, okay, that I'm reading here. Don't you miss how the media used to talk about the teams, not just the same ones on repeat? Oh, good Lord, God, that is true. Nobody's talking about the Cavs. They've won 15 or more straight games in a row, and all anybody wants to talk about is the Lakers, who are probably going to make the playoffs. You don't even have to look it up. I'm not that interested right now. We'll get to the NBA when we get there. All right. But don't you miss when something negative was reported, it was properly sourced, actually true and indisputable? I do, says Robert. Properly sourced. Properly sourced. I'm just going to repeat that. Properly sourced. And I'll let that universe just hang. I'll let that hang out in the universe. Athletes work their entire lives to build up their skills and reputation. Having an analyst turn into a gossip columnist and tear that down just to say something edgy or interesting is classless. Now, he has pointed out not everybody does this earlier in the tweets that I read before Magnum joined us. All right. The athletes deserve better coverage. The fans deserve better coverage and information. There are so many talented sports analysts out there doing amazing work and doing it the right way. Hopefully one day we can get things back down the right path of authenticity and excellence and away from just controversy and exploitation of the athletes just to make more money. I'm not gonna lie to you. He nailed it. Like the design of the sports debate show is entertaining, but what it turns into, it's about controversy and it's about putting the athletes in the middle. And if you're going to debate, it can't be, oh, LeBron's great because of this. And the other guy's, no, he's great because of this. It's, no, he's great because of this, or he's not great because of this. And I bring up LeBron. I want your take on this. I bring up LeBron specifically because I am not a LeBron fan. I have not been able to stand him ever since he went to Miami. First of all, I don't like creating the super teams. I like Derrick Henry. He openly talked about before the Super Bowl, he goes, I hope they both lose. When I watch some teams, and it tends to be in the NBA, it's these created super teams. Now, they don't always work out. You look at the Brooklyn Nets, never really worked out with Durant and Irving and everything up there. Okay. But then I feel like it's a bunch of friends playing each other, not a bunch of competitors trying to beat each other in whatever sport they're competing in. And that drives me nuts. And then something was pointed out. When LeBron first came out, he was a happy-go-lucky guy who was the most talented player on the court. It wasn't long, especially once Kobe retired. He was the best player in the world. And he was perfectly happy with being the best player on the court, being happy-go-lucky and passing to his teammates. You remember that guy?
Yeah.
Do you?
Yeah, I remember
That was a very
it.
hesitant
Yeah.
answer. Do you?
Oh, yeah,
I remember
yeah.
that guy. I like that guy. And then when he was 21, I can't stand Skip Bayless. That's just me personally. Ever since he dubbed Chris Bosh Posh Spice or whatever it was. When Roberts talked about making up nicknames, they make it personal. And the ironic thing was, it was pointed out that Skip Bayless couldn't even play on his varsity basketball team, and he got highly defensive. This is all years ago. Highly defensive. Highly demanded an apology from Jalen Rose, who said it. Which I was like, what? So you're going to make up disrespectful nicknames for the best basketball players in the world, and then when someone points out a fact about you, you're going to get insanely hypersensitive about it? At that point, I checked out on Skip Bayless. But I think back to LeBron and that happy-go-lucky guy who was unselfish, the most talented player on the court, then the best player in the world, especially after Kobe retired, and even maybe before Kobe retired. You could debate it. I'll never forget when LeBron was the ripe old age of 21 years old, said he doesn't have the clutch gene. There was I forget the exact playoff series that didn't go well. LeBron either missed the game-winning shot. I think he kept passing it or whatever. And he goes, he doesn't have the clutch gene. And then that's when the whole stupid GOAT debate started between him and Jordan when he was like 21. I'm like, this is the stupidest debate ever. You can debate it more now, but why don't we wait till LeBron's done and we have all the evidence, okay? I have no problem with putting LeBron in the top 5 or whatever you want to do. But I actually feel kind of bad. I look back and I'm like, I think those sports debate shows turned me against, it made LeBron a little bit angrier. He wasn't that happy-go-lucky guy. Different things changed. And so I think the debate shows negatively impacted him, which if I was in his place, I probably would have reacted similarly. And then it negatively impacted how I viewed, not just LeBron. He's the one I feel bad about because I look back and I'm like, man, had he not been talked about like that, would he have acted different? And would I have viewed him different over the years? And would his actions over the years have been different? And I would have viewed those different. And so I actually kind of feel bad. But I don't know. Does it all come back to let's create controversy? Let's pit people against each other? Let's insult pro athletes instead of reporting the facts and letting people come to their own conclusions? What are your thoughts on all this? Does this kind of make sense as I'm laying it out? I don't watch these debate shows anymore. And even before Robert's tweet, I hadn't watched them for years. I think around the time Shannon went and joined Skip on Fox, Undisputed, I think that's when I kind of checked out on the whole thing. The sensationalism, the over the top. I just like, and the insulting of athletes and name calling. When Skip insulted Shannon, saying he wasn't even in Tom Brady's league or universe or what, that was the most, Tom Brady's the GOAT. What an asinine statement to make. I don't know. I hope this makes sense. What are your thoughts on all this, Jake? What do you make of this?
No, it absolutely makes sense, and it's been this way for years. Obviously, being in radio is kind of fun because it's been through. I've been here since 2013, or took a couple years off or whatever. But I've watched it kind of evolve and turn into that. It's kind of like when MTV used to play music videos. Everybody we loved MTV playing music videos. Well, we loved when ESPN played Sports Center and it was highlights, and but now it's kind of turned to debate, and that's partially because. If you want highlights, you can go click on it. You can go find that pretty quickly. So part of it is just kind of the changing media landscape we've had, but they found out that people are engaged in debates. You're interested. And I mean, one of my favorite personalities growing up was Colin Cowherd. The reason why is he said something against Nebraska in like 2003, and I hated him. I was frustrated. I had to listen to him and see what he said so I could argue against him. And then over time, I realized that that's what if you just listen to somebody that agrees with everything you say, and I mean, there might be a spot for that, but it's not usually going to keep you tuned in. So I understand debate. There's definitely a skill to debate. But I do think the way that it's gone, and so far without these personalities, which by the way, Skip Bayless, Stephen A. Smith, you may dislike them, but man, are they successful in what they've done and what they've built. But I can't take anything they say seriously because I've been to that role, or even if you were in high school debate, you've probably been asked before to debate something that you don't believe. And some people can be very skilled at just that skill, just to debate something they don't believe. I've argued with a co-host of mine before, was pretty good at that. I'd say I could know I'm right, and I could argue, but you, by the end of it, it will sound like you won the debate because you're just very good at doing so. So, I mean, I always take that stuff with a grain of salt, but it's definitely. I agree with you. I'm from. It doesn't draw me in, but it does draw ratings, and that's why they continue to run with these debate shows.
You make a great point. They made a lot of money doing it. At some point, it's got to run its course, though. By the way, why did MTV stop playing music videos? VH1, all these, like, they all did it, like, relatively the same time. Country music still has, like, their top 10 list. My father-in-law plays it, like, every Saturday morning whenever we're back over the summer or spring break or something. So country music, or CMT, still plays some country music videos. But why did they all stop? Can somebody tell me why? Clearly, it was a business move. I'm just kind of curious. I'm not privy to such things on the music end of things. You make a lot of great points. I do think I think what I don't like people are like, oh, wrestling. First of all, they'll say wrestling's fake. No, it's not fake. Let me drop you off a 20-foot steel cage, hit in the face with a chair. It's very, very real, but predetermined. Okay. It's predetermined that this is what it's going to be. And so it's like, how do I even know that this guy's take is real? Maybe he was just told to take this side and he's just really good, like you said, and skilled at debating. So I don't even know that your take is real. How are you always on the opposite side of everything? I think it's the predetermined nature that's going to, no matter what, in some way, shape, or form, produce negativity and put the athlete in the center of it. So if you've got thoughts on this, folks, text in to this number. What is it, Jake?
402-464-5685.
And let us know your thoughts. When we come back, all right, Nebraska's transfer portal class. We looked at last year's. Jake looked at 2 years ago. We need more players to produce this year, honestly, than we had last year or the year before that, Matt Rule's first transfer portal class, because that's going to make a big impact on Nebraska's season. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
This is Lincoln's home for sports talk on the FM dial. Also online at theticketfm.com. On the internet. KNTK FM Firth, 93.7 The Ticket.
Well, it's the middle of winter, the holidays are over, and the weather is unpredictable. Isn't there anything to look forward to? You bet there is. Cash Blast from your Nebraska Lottery is back. Until April 1st, buy a 2x2 ticket and enter the voucher number online for a chance to win one of 7 weekly drawings for $5,000 or $500. And if your voucher is from a 7-day draw ticket, your prize is doubled. Hey, there's nothing like a little green to cure the winter blues. 2x2 top prize odds, 1 in 105,000.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today. We'll see mainly sunny skies with a light breeze and an afternoon high around 80. Tonight, showers and storms turning to rain and snow. It'll be windy with a low around 31. And tomorrow, we'll see snow and blizzard conditions likely, an afternoon high of just 39. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fletcher for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in, temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and 0.
Big Brothers Big Sisters is bringing back Bowl for Kids' Sake. Create a team, raise donations, and join the bowling celebration at Sun Valley Lanes and Games on May 2nd. Every contribution helps to create and support one-to-one mentoring relationships for Lincoln's young people. Learn more and register today at bbbsmidlands.org under the Events tab. Big Brothers Big Sisters, igniting the power and promise of Lincoln's youth for over 50 years. Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Hey, what are you talking about over there?
Huh?
I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing. The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Love is in the air, and so are big savings. It's the Big I Do event at Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions, April 4th through the 6th. For 3 days only, enjoy 20% off all engagement rings and wedding bands, plus exclusive bridal collections from our top designers. Whether you're saying yes or I do, shop now for the year's best prices and selection. April 4th through 6th, Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Welcome in, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. Well, welcome back to hour 2 of the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. This is a loaded hour. Former Nebraska AD Athletic Director Bill Moose is going to be joining us at 12:30. We're going to be discussing the transfer portal hits and misses that Nebraska football has had recently, and they have to hit this year. They absolutely have to. Then at the end of the show, the Nebraska women's sports overall as a whole, you know, when you think about volleyball versus football, softball versus baseball, just currently, okay, women's basketball versus men's basketball, and obviously there women's gymnastics, the men's wrestling team is doing really, really well. So I don't want to paint like an extremely broad stroke, but the women seem to be doing a little bit better than the men. Why is that? We're going to offer some thoughts on that throughout this next hour as well. But let's start right off the top. All right. Nebraska football. So, like people know, I just give my honest opinion. Like, there's some folks who make a concerted effort to be positive. There's some folks who make a concerted effort to be controversial, as we just discussed. There's some folks, like, there's the concerted effort to do something. So when I started doing this, going on 11 years ago, I was like, well, what is my goal? I remember sitting in, it used to be my son's bedroom. Then we had 84 children. So we turned it into a necessary office, and he got a bigger bedroom, another part of the house. And I'm sitting there by myself trying to figure out what type of a sports show host do I want to be? And it has not changed since that day. I remember sitting in the office by myself, freezing cold day. The heat wasn't even on yet because the office was just built and made the way it was. And it came to me. and it has not changed. I'm simply going to tell my truth, backed up with proof, facts, and evidence, and let the chips fall where they may. It's just been the same thing for going on 11 years. I've never once professed that I'm right. Obviously, if it's my opinion, I believe that I'm right, but my ears are open. Okay? I don't respond well to emotional arguments or things of that nature. I respond well to proof, facts, and evidence, and we've had people text in, hey, Adam, it's actually this or that, and I don't get upset. I actually appreciate it. We want to be factually correct. There's no ego here. So for me, it's always, my goal has been, I'm going to tell my truth based on proof, facts, and evidence, and let the chips fall where they may. So when I looked at last year's transfer portal class, some players immediately came to my mind, all right, as not having, shall we say, phenomenal seasons. Not as well as we had hoped. You look at Micah Mazuka. After the Colorado game, didn't play much, and actually the thing I remember most after the Colorado game was he got like a 15-yard penalty in one of the games later on in the year. But I was told by folks in that building that he was the most NFL-ready lineman they had. But he didn't even start or play in the majority of the games. There was a game where he was at the Lincoln Airport on a Friday, the day before the game. So we didn't get out of Micah what we needed. That's my point. Isaiah Nayor. Dude, 6'3", 215, runs a 4.4 flat 40 at the combine. He's one of only 5 receivers in the past 20 years at that size and weight to run that type of a 40 at the combine. 5 guys have done it. He's one of them in the past 20 years. He had some plays, especially early on in the season, but I don't think anybody would sit here and say, hey, we got out of Isaiah what we needed, or even close. Jamal Banks, I actually really liked Jamal. I interviewed him, chatted with him before and after the interview. Fun guy, great guy to chat with. All right. I liked him, but I don't think we got out of him what we were hoping to get out of him. You look at a guy like Stephon Thompson, who started for Tony White as a true freshman at Syracuse. Definitely did not get out of him what we were hoping for. I mean, these are 4 guys right here. What was there? How many players were in the class last year? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I mean, that's a large percentage that you could say, with all due respect, we swung and missed on. That's a large percentage. Then you keep going down through the class. Dante Dowdell is a guy who did good in certain situations. He really should have been a short yardage goal line type back. He should not have been starting. It should have been Emmett Johnson. I said that all year long. This is not revisionist history. I said it after games where Emmett got 1 carry or no carries. And I said it the entire year. This is not revisionist history. So I don't really get mad at Dante. Of course he wants to start. It's not his call. That's someone else's call. Obviously, things have changed going into this year. At least that's the expectation with Emmett Johnson, hopefully earning the starting running back spot, and that's what everyone anticipates happening. I don't think Dante quite lived up to the starting running back type production that we would have hoped for if they're going to start him. You look at a guy like Zaire Wright. This dude was a happy bright spot. Just a happy bright spot, man. I think he exceeded expectations, and I think he played really, really well. And it wasn't just the USC game because he's a former Trojan and he wanted to beat his old team. He did it throughout the year, and the more opportunities he got, the better he played. I can't wait to see what he's going to do this year. There's a bright spot. 4 guys we definitely did not get close to what we wanted out of. Dante Dowdell, I would say he contributed, maybe not at the level we would have preferred. To be clear, I'd love to have him back with Emmett this year as Emmett the starter. Obviously, that's not the case. Bly Hill gets hurt. Okay, that happens. He was projected to be a starter before he got hurt in the spring game. Can't wait to see what he can do. Hopefully in the fall, he's doing well. Jalen Gromstad, he comes in and he does exactly what you expect him to be. You know who he is. You know what he's going to be. He's a guy that I'm going to tend to root for, a guy like that. Okay? If he gets his chance to play, we'll see what happens. But you know who he is. With all due respect, I look at Vince Genatone and okay, Jake, you got to help me out with this. I kind of forgot he was in this transfer portal class. I don't mean that disrespectfully. Don't worry about me. When I came into my class, there were people that forgot that I was in the class too, okay? Is he still on the team? What do we know about what he's doing now, Jake?
Yeah, I believe he's still on the team, but that's about as much as an update I have. Said he played in all 13 games in 2024 as a special teams member, but he recorded just 1 tackle.
So he transferred from Montana, from the Grizzly, came to the Huskers a year ago. Now, he was a redshirt freshman, okay, young guy. So I'm hoping he develops, improves, and gets better and better and can contribute on the field. But of the 9 guys I just listed, there's one guy that I look at from our transfer portal class last year. And you needed Isaiah to start and contribute. You needed Micah to come in and start and contribute. You needed the same from Jamal. You needed Stephon to come in and contribute. Okay? You didn't necessarily get it to the level that you wanted. One guy out of 9, we've got to hit on an absurdly higher percentage than that in this year's transfer portal class. What about the year before? Because you actually looked up Rule's first transfer portal class, Jake.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was worse. We all kind of know how that went down as far as the quarterback position goes with Jeff Sims, which really kind of drags it down. But you look at, some of the names across the board there, Jacob Hood, Eric Gilbert. I mean, these were guys that, were big time transfers in from Georgia, didn't quite produce enough there. Joshua Fleeks did save the shutout streak against Michigan. So,
we'll take it. We'll take it.
For that. But Chief Borders, Corey Collier, did you get enough out of these guys while they're on campus? Probably not. The bright spots of it, Ben Scott and MJ Sherman.
Yep.
Solid starters for a couple years, so they didn't completely miss on everything. But I think Jeff Sims and Eric Gilbert kind of overshadowed the rest of that class. But it just wasn't really, all that successful a class. Now there are Tyler Knack, Elijah Judy. There's still some guys that maybe could prove to be better members of that too. But again, it's kind of the similar thing as what you're saying. Yeah, there's a few bright spots. There's this or that as far as future building, but there's a big chunk of that portal class that. And with the portal, that's where they're supposed to come in and fill holes, play right away, be good players. Just didn't happen.
So I do want to point out in this year's class, and I mentioned this when we started the show a little over an hour ago, we have a top 5 transfer portal class in the country, number 1 in the Big Ten. We have 2 of the top 20 transfer portal players in the country. Okay. And number 19 ranked in the country, wide receiver Dane Key. Number 16, okay, per a lot of the sources that I looked at as far as the rankings, Williams and Worry. So I tell you what, this is a much larger transfer portal class. I do think it's a very talented transfer portal class. What actually manifests on the field? When you think about the guys who have to hit from this class, like they have to hit, we can't miss. First of all, the percentage needs to be absurdly higher, incredibly higher, insanely much higher on the hits versus misses going forward. Especially with what some of these guys are getting paid. And that's part of the deal. If you're going to get paid, it's going to get pointed out and the scrutiny is going to become more and it's fair. All right. Who do we have to hit on in this class? The first guy that pops in my mind, and I want you to drop a couple, is Elijah Pritchett. Yeah. That's the first guy. Like, there's more. The entire D-line, honestly, is the other thing that popped into my head. We got a bunch of receivers, but the first guy that pops in my head is Elijah freaking Pritchett. Who do you got, Jake?
Yeah, no, I think that's probably the first name that comes to my mind too. Obviously, Dane Key, and that's going to be interesting between Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter because over the last couple of years, you've gotten wide receivers over the last 4 years. In fact, Nebraska has had a player that wasn't previously on the roster come on and lead the team in receiving. That started off being a good thing, Samari Toure.
Good, not great.
Palmer, Trey Palmer. So you're going, wow, these guys are, Nebraska's doing great out of the transfer portal. Last couple of years, Kemp did lead the team in receiving yards. It was like 310 yards. Nair did lead the team in receiving yards. By the end of his, the Iowa game, some of that stuff just what didn't seem to live up to expectations despite leading the team. So, I think that Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter, we've got a lot of expectation for these guys coming in. They've got to at least be able to outproduce or get close to rising above the level. They have to rise above the level that Banks and Nair did. Banks and Nair, I think, were solid, but maybe didn't live up to the expectation that they had coming in. If you have a repeat performance out of that this year, I think it could be in trouble. And then another name that comes to my head, I think is Deshaun McCullough. I think we feel like, he's a freshman, all Big Ten, but, trying to find his spot, finally now getting to that edge rush position. I think a lot of people feel like, oh, you got an A-plus player there. I'm not sure. I think we have to wait and see. I think there's a big expectation for him to be that guy. And I don't know if you're going to, again, do you get an MJ Sherman return? MJ Sherman, fine. Maybe not as much as what you had hoped. That might be okay. But I think if we're expecting to take that next step on defense between him and Marquise Watson-Trent, they've got to be impact linebackers or, edge rushers in McCullough's case.
Yeah, that's a great point. I would put McCullough number 2. Elijah Pritchett 1, McCullough 2, because we got to be able to get after the quarterback. We've got to. Williams Nwari is still a young guy. I've talked about how he just stands out on film and he's a freak athlete, and it's been talked about. He's a young guy, so he gets a little bit more grace, but Dawson McCullough's got to perform at a high level now, and Williams Nwari absolutely can. I'm just going to give him a little bit more grace because he's much, much younger. So I would say Pritchett 1. I would say Dawson McCullough 2. That's a great point. With the receivers, now let me be very, very clear. We need better receiver play. For me, the emphasis on each particular receiver isn't as high because I think we have plenty of talent. I hope that doesn't come back to bite me in the butt in the fall. But if, let's say, Dane Key doesn't work out, you got Isaiah Hunter, you got Ja'Cory Barney, you got Hartley Gilmore, who I talked about yesterday. You've got other guys you can go to. So the wide receiver room has to step up as a whole. The individual pressure on each receiver, I think, is a little bit less just because of what you anticipate the room as a whole to be. Again, I hope that doesn't bite me in the keister come the fall. The other thing is the entire D-line. The entire D-line. And I know that's kind of cheating, but we have not a lot of experience, to put it mildly. Now, we said that 2 years ago going into Rule's first year, and then the D-line was the strength of the defense. Maybe the strength of the team that year, and they were incredibly young. I mean, Nash was younger. I think Ty was the only guy with any starting experience going into that season, if I remember right. Okay, so that's what kind of sticks out to me as far as we've got to have a much higher hit versus miss percentage out of the transfer portal. We've got to be able to develop our high school players now. Do you develop them and they go elsewhere? That's the conundrum. All right, that's the unfortunate part of college football right now that has to be ironed and figured out as time goes along. Pritchett, McCullough, for me, it's the D-line. You mentioned some receivers. I mean, Marcus Watson-Trent's a great point. We just kind of assume he's going to work out because he's so proven and so experienced. And yes, it wasn't in the Big Ten, but I mean, you kind of assume, he was the player of the year, defensive player of the year in the Sun Belt, right? Like, you kind of assume that guy's going to work out. You look at Indiana from last year, okay, it's going to work out. You never know. I highly expect him to work out, but that's a guy that's got to work out as well. Look at some of these younger guys. I tell you what, it's not hard to do it for 1 or 2 games. It's not hard to do it for 10 to 20 snaps a game. Vincent Shavers is an incredibly talented kid. Willis McGahee Jr. is an incredibly talented kid. It is a different animal to do it day in and day out, play in and play out, game in and game out, when you're beat up, when you feel like crap, when you feel horrible, when you're 12 weeks in, you can barely walk when you get out of bed, yet you're supposed to go perform on the football field with 330-pound men trying to rip your face off and wear it on Halloween. Do I believe they can do it? Absolutely. Do I expect them to do it? Yes, I do. Is it a given? Absolutely not. So even the guys that are returning that are young players, they've got to be able to do it down in and down out, day in and day out, game in and game out, week in and week out, month in and month out. That includes Vincent Shavers and Willis McGahee and some of these other guys that we need to step up. Again, I anticipate them doing it, but nothing is a given. Any final thoughts there, Jake?
Well, I think it's interesting we've had this whole conversation without mentioning Rocco Spindler, who was the guard at the end.
It's a given, right? No, it's not.
Yeah. I mean, because you do think of him as a guy that, he's going to be one of the highest paid players on the team. I'll just put it that way.
Yes.
But it's interesting because they needed a lot of offensive line help. We knew they needed offensive line help, but it was more tackle help. They did get him at a guard. So it's kind of interesting that I think his name is worth mentioning here, but I don't think he's a top guy on this list because I think they have some other guard bodies they could throw in. It was the tackle that they needed, and that was kind of the emphasis of the whole, even when they got him in and brought him in, was that, okay, good, good addition out of the portal, but you probably still need a tackle. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. Looks like they're moving on here. Gunnar Gatula's going to sit out the spring. Maybe some of those other Grant Seeger and some of those guys can kind of step up. But as far as a concern going into the year, I still think tackles, way over the interior offensive line.
Did you make such a good point? Because with Rocco Spindler, I'm sitting here staring at a picture of his press conference from whenever that was, a week or two ago. I'm staring right at him and his name didn't pop into my head because I just assume he's going to work out. So again, do we expect him to work out? Does he need to work out? Yes. Is it a given? No. Look at Micah Mazuka. He started at Baylor. He started at Florida. He was the number 2 run blocking graded guard in the entire Big 12 conference as a sophomore. Didn't work out last year. So to be clear, this is not Chicken Little. The sky is not falling. We're simply saying you've still got to go out there and earn it. Nothing is a given. You got to go out there and earn it, whether you're a guy who's kind of taken for granted that you're just going to be really good, or you're a guy there's a million question marks around. You've got to go out there and earn it. In my mind, the more you get paid does not guarantee you playing time. what it gives you is more benefit of the doubt. Okay? The more you're getting paid, the more benefit of the doubt you're going to get. But at a certain point, if a walk-on, well, there's no more walk-ons anymore. If somebody who's not getting paid any NIL yet is playing better than a guy getting paid 1.5, Matt Rule wants to win football games. That benefit of the doubt might have been a lot, but if you don't earn it and that guy's earning it, that guy's going to play. And it has to be that way. What do you think, Jake?
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's so interesting. That's part of college football. What we're going to see, kind of the changing landscape. By the way, Michigan State, the latest to cancel their spring game. Speaking of changing landscapes, but yeah, I mean, and you've seen it at the pro level, right? Like how much of a difference it can make from, how much a franchise will cater to a player, or how long that can last, even if you spend a high draft pick on them, or you spend a big money on them in the offseason. It's going to be fascinating to see kind of team dynamics, player reactions, all that in the future. That's in college football as a whole, not just in Nebraska. Hopefully we don't run into that. Hopefully the guys we've paid good money to are playing quite a bit.
Well, Well, first of all, in the NFL, they're going to put you out there unless you're hurt. And then they just release you at the end of the year. They trade you. Matt Rule has shown Mazuka was basically fine physically. He has shown if you're not working out, you won't be out there. So I do give Matt Rule credit for that. I'm not trying to pick on anybody, but this is the case. I've been told he was the most NFL-ready lineman of all the preseason projected starters, outside of guys who got hurt, played the least. So it is what it is. So, all right. I asked Jake if this was okay. He said it was okay. The football camp is officially live, ladies and gentlemen. I talked about the Carriker Chronicles football camp yesterday. It is officially live. Registration is open. All right. The Carriker Chronicles football camp, July 9th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. All right. Kids K through 8, whether you're just learning the sport, whether you're a seasoned player and you're looking to take your game to the next level, come learn from legends like Eric Crouch, Heisman Trophy winner, College Football Hall of Fame, Amon Green, the ticket's own, Green Bay Packers Hall of Fame, two-time national champion, some Yahoo named Adam Carriker who flaps his gums way too much, and at least one more Husker surprise, a legend that is similar to the aforementioned players is going to be there. All right, if you want to register, simply go to carrikerchronicles.com. There's a big banner across the top of the website. There's a picture of Eric, Amon, and myself. You can click on any of those things. It'll take you to the website's page. Okay, the page within the website. You can learn more about the camp there. It's a unique, in my opinion, very special opportunity. And I'm excited about it because I had nothing like this where I grew up. Man, I would have gone nuts if I could have gone to a camp and learned from guys that are my friends now. I hope they're not listening because then it gets weird. But guys like Grant Wistrom and Jason Peter, had I been able to go to a camp and learn from a guy like them, or Tommy Armstrong, which is odd because I've actually done a camp with Tommy Armstrong as well. But Tommy Frazier, I did a camp with him a few years ago. And I'm like, man, I'm standing right here next to Tommy. I could have done a camp where he could have been coaching me when I was a kid. These things are just awesome. They're fun. I'm excited about it. You can officially go register your kids. Go to carrikerchronicles.com. Again, there's a banner. There's a picture. Click on any of the aforementioned items in the menu bar. It says football camp. Click on that. Learn more. Sign your kids up. K through 8th grade, boys and girls. Have a whole lot of fun. All right. In about 5 minutes, we're going to be joined by former Nebraska athletic director, a man who did it for a very, very long time. And his last stop was here at the University of Nebraska. He's also got a book that's coming out. Mr. Bill Moose. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Nottingham Forest plays Man City at 6:30 a.m., followed by Liverpool versus Southampton at 9 a.m. On Sunday, Tottenham plays Bournemouth at 9 a.m., followed by Man United versus Arsenal at 11:30 a.m. Liverpool currently leads the standings with 67 points. You can find all this and more at McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket, your place for English Premier League soccer, located at 8th and P.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Automotive Solutions is Lincoln's one-stop shop for all your vehicle needs, from vinyl wraps to engine repair and maintenance. Automotive Solutions offers fleet services as well as printing and graphic design for vinyl applications, plus installation of vinyl for boats, trucks, cars, and anything else you want wrapped. Perfection is their standard, and they never settle for less. Call today at 531-249-5600 or go to automotivesolutionslincoln.com to learn more. That's Automotive Solutions on 2024 Southwest 5th Street in Lincoln.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus. Garage doors and more.
Go Hog Wild Pet Barbecue.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call today at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Hey, what are you talking about over there?
Huh?
I said, what are you talking about?
You know, Bill, I think it's time for both of us to get our hearing checked. We should head over to Christensen Hearing Analytics.
Oh, yeah, I've heard about them. They offer a free hearing consultation and screening, affordable hearing aid prices, and a knowledgeable staff with over 30 years of experience.
Visit Christensen Hearing Analytics today in Williamsburg Village or give them a call at 402-489-3450. Christensen Hearing Analytics. A better life starts with better hearing.
It takes hard work to make Nebraska the right place to raise a family, build a business, or grow a community. We're counting on working parents to make it happen, and they're counting on childcare professionals to have their backs. Employers and other contributors can earn up to a $100,000 tax credit for strengthening childcare in our communities and state. Learn more at nebraskachildcaretaxcredit.org. Brought to you by First 5 Nebraska and Nebraska Children and Families Foundation and aired by the Nebraska Broadcasters Association and this station.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right, make sure you join 93.7 The Ticket's Bracket Challenge on ESPN's Tournament Challenge app. Join the group by going to 93.7 The Ticket's Twitter page and clicking on the link. The tweet with the link is pinned at the top of the page. It is completely free, and the top brackets will win prizes from 93.7 The Ticket. So fill out your bracket today before Thursday's tip-off. First game is at 11:15 a.m. Central Time on Thursday, so make sure you pick a champion before then. All right, now it's time to bring on our special guest. The man was an AD for a very, very long time, multiple stops, including the University of Nebraska, former Nebraska AD, Mr. Bill Moose. How you doing, my friend?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thank you.
I appreciate you taking the time to join me. So a lot of things we want to ask you about. I know you've got a new book that's come out recently. We want to chat about that as well. But I want to get your thoughts right off the top. All right. What are your memories of Nebraska, your thoughts and your memories from your time at Nebraska, the ups, the downs, everything as an overall whole?
Well, yeah, Adam, it was an interesting time and a great 4 years in kind of a different sort of way. First thing, of course, that stands out as the top of my memories is the great people of the state. Not only are they super Husker fans and all that, but genuinely hardworking, good people that are philanthropic and also patriotic. I mean, it's the heartland, and it was a thrill to get to know the people. As you know, and we talked several times during my time there, it was out of the ordinary. We came in and hard charging, made some changes right away, made some critical coaching hires. But before we could get too much momentum going, COVID hit. And that really threw a wrench in the operation. And of course, had spent a lot of my time just fighting to get a football season and hopefully playing some games and trying to keep a budget that, depended on football so much, trying to keep that in the black. But, we did the groundwork and really all the design on the Go Big project, which is the football operations building, which is as fine as there is in the country, and some other facility projects and a lot of student services, nutrition, those types of things, and hired some pretty good coaches that most of them are still there and doing great things.
So you make a great point about COVID and what that was like, because the Big Ten canceled the season at one point, and then we know what it ultimately turned out and what it ended up being. I got to ask a question, though, because I felt like Nebraska was the loudest voice, and maybe that's just my perspective, but Nebraska was the loudest voice that you're trying to get a season of football in the Big Ten. Do you think that somehow puts some sort of a target on Nebraska when it comes to the Big Ten Conference?
Well, I know my voice was being heard every day. Adam, we were on Zoom meetings during that time every day. And I mean, not just Monday through Friday, many times on weekends. And, we had a new commissioner in Kevin Warren. He was still, feeling his way through college athletics. And I was looking around the country, and the SEC was playing a season, the Big 12, and we changed our football schedule 3 times in like 2 or 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. And it was an abbreviated schedule. I always felt and very blessed that I had time there in the role that I had, because Nebraska needs football, and football needs Nebraska. And neither were getting it during that time, and I fought hard. And it was, there were knockdown, drag out fights, tension, no fans. Can you imagine? You were a great player during a great time, playing in Memorial Stadium empty.
That would have been crazy.
And yep. It wasn't, and we went into that. If we were going to lose our season that year of COVID, my CFO and I sat down and penciled it out. We had a risk of losing $100 million in a fiscal year, and we were able to work things. And I worked it at the conference level. We worked it internally. We had some painful things. We had to let people go, furloughs, all these kind of things across the board. Salary cuts, but in the end, we mitigated that 100 down to less than 20 million. And unfortunately, I mean, I've got some great feats that I'm proud of in all my years as a Division I athletic director, but maybe one of the ones I'm most proud of is keeping that ship afloat during some turbulent times.
So you mentioned some of the coaches that you hired, Fred Hoiberg, Scott Frost. Obviously, Coach Hoiberg is still here. Talk to me about Scott Frost, because that was a ginormous deal. I mean, he was the hottest coach in America, obviously a Nebraska guy. He gets hired, he comes back. Ultimately, it doesn't go the way everyone had hoped. Obviously, wish him nothing but the best down at UCF now, where he's currently at. But what are your thoughts of Scott Frost's tenure as the head coach here at the University of Nebraska? And what was it like being part of that hiring process from your seat as the athletic director?
Well, it wasn't the normal course of events because, as you might recall, Adam, I was hired in the middle of October, without it being said, I was astute enough to realize that I was being hired to get that football program back on track, and the first item of business was to. And it was up to me, but it was obvious I needed to make a change in the coaching situation. Well, here we had a favorite son in Scott Frost, who was having a magical season at UCF. As you recall, 13-0. I think they were as high as 6 in the nation. Beat Auburn in the Peach Bowl, and he was the coach of the year. And, and yet you will read in my book, I hope, that he was not high on coming back to Nebraska because he was upset with how so many things had changed and people that he was dear to and so forth were treated, from the time he quarterbacked that national championship team in '97 until the times that I started to sit down and talk with him. His first game got canceled, if you remember.
Yep, Akron.
And Akron at home. I mean, it was such a great evening, and that storm came in, and we had to cancel it. And it just kind of seemed from the beginning that there were a lot of obstacles. But in the end, it is hard to come home. There were great expectations, but Adam, that program was in bad shape.
Yep.
And again, my first game I was hired, we went up to, we played at Purdue, and I was fortunate enough to have played the college game and at this level, and I was watching. I think we had Nebraska, because we had 10 or 12 guys go down that couldn't get up, had to be helped off the field. I felt they were out of shape. They were undisciplined. The brand that has been so prominent in college football was tarnished. We had a lot more work to do when I got there that I realized than I did when I took the job. But we made progress, and it would have been great if Scott could have been the one, but it didn't work out. Hey, I'm happy to see he's back coaching again, because he should. He's got a lot of knowledge and a love for the game, and he's a good coach.
All right, so let people know about your book. Tell them what the name is. Obviously, it's more than just Nebraska football, because you've had a very lengthy, successful career. But what can Huskers fans, aside from just Scott Frost, specifically expect to find in the book as well?
Well, it is a memoir, and it's something that I started working on some time ago. And, I think there's some pieces of inspiration and some motivation and dedication. I was a small town, one-horse town farm kid who had a dream and ended up playing major college football, and then that served as a foundation to go on into the administration piece of it. And there's great anecdotes, I think, and stories of, various stops in my life. First at the University of Montana, and then our 12 years at Oregon, and my relationship with Phil Knight, I think, is extremely interesting. My actual retirement, I came back here to Eastern Washington, which you know very well, and built a cattle ranch from scratch, and then got asked to come back to my alma mater at Washington State and try to fix that, which we did in the hiring of Mike Leach during that stint. Lots of fun, interesting pieces to that. And then, of course, I have 2 chapters on our time at Nebraska, and in intermittence in all of this, I talk about my kids. I've got 2 sons that played major college football, and at 2 different places, and beautiful daughters and the families and all that. It's really been therapeutic, and I've gotten a lot of interest in it. My editor, I'm writing it myself. I think that's important to say. I don't have a ghostwriter. I every word, and I'm over 400 pages now, and it's been almost 4.5 years, but I've written it all. I've got a great editor, a New York Times best-selling author that lives in Las Vegas, that's editing for me and getting it set up to produce and publish here, hopefully within the next 3 or 4 months. So the name of it is Crab Creek Chronicles. Crab Creek is where I grew up, out in the middle of nowhere. You may have heard of Crab Creek coming from the Tri-Cities or so. I have. Yeah, and that was where our cattle operation was. And one of the things I say in my book at the end is, everything changes. One thing that never changes is that everything changes. And the little town I grew up in is all but extinct now. The one I went to high school in, Olympia, is about 5 times bigger. College football itself and athletics, my goodness, it's evolved in good ways and bad ways. But the one place that I loved as a little boy and all the way through was Crab Creek, and it's never changed. It's kind of the core of my book, and it's been a lot of fun. And I hope to have it out soon, and hope people will enjoy it. It's been a lot of fun.
And Coach Athletic Director Bill BUSTS joining us here, former Nebraska Athletic Director for a long time, 3 decades. In fact, there's been about 3 decades worth of change in football and just NCAA over the last couple of years. Is there a part of you that misses it, that would like to be, in with this ever-growing change, or do you kind of look at college football and just kind of sports administration as is now? Is it in a mess, or what are your kind of look on the current situation?
Yeah, and that is highlighted through my book as well. Adam, I really think you'll identify with this. And in talking about my experience as a player, and then on through of what I tried to instill in all the places I went, were 2 things: the value of the education and the camaraderie of teammates. And it seems like those things are kind of brushed over to the side now. They're not that important. There was something about coming to the line of scrimmage and putting your hand down, and you weren't just out to showcase yourself, but you were out there to be a teammate. When you had to reach down a little bit on 3rd and 3, inside the 20, you were fighting for that teammate beside you and for the school you represented and all of that. And it just seems like it's far more self-centered anymore. I was just leaving Nebraska when the NIL business started and the transfer rules changing, and now the revenue sharing piece and conference realignments. I am kind of at my core a traditionalist, and I always have believed in parity. I fought in the Pac-12 for equal television distribution, which the Big Ten has enjoyed for decades. So a place like Washington State could go to a Rose Bowl. And in the Big Ten, it's not that long ago that Northwestern and Purdue were going to Rose Bowls. And those days are over. Washington State isn't even in a power conference anymore, and where this thing is going, I'm afraid to even project, and it kind of goes against the grain of everything I really worked for and tried to be an ambassador for during all my years in the business.
I don't think he misses it, Jake. I don't think he misses. I don't blame you. While Jake was asking you that question, I'm over here shaking my head like his answer is going to be no, he does not miss it. No, I remember those days, 95 Northwestern playing USC in the Rose Bowl, 2000 Purdue and Drew Brees taking on Washington and Rick Neuheisel in the Rose Bowl. I remember those teams, those years, those games. Oh, man, it's a crazy ride. We'll see if it ends up being a good ride. Good luck with writing the book. I've written enough articles to know the tone is crazy. 3 different people can read the same text sent to them with that little voice in their head 3 completely different ways. So tone was always the most difficult thing for me in writing articles. So good luck with finishing writing your book. I can't wait to read it when it comes out.
Thank you, Adam. And hey, good luck to you. Everybody in Nebraska, I've been thinking about you. This weather has been rough, but hey, take care. Always good to talk to you. And hey, go Big Red.
Go Big Red. Thank you for joining us. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Forget the lame excuse this year. Your boss already knows why you can't make it to work for those magical 2 days in mid-March. Join 93.7 The Ticket on Thursday and Friday at Buffalo Wings and Rings at 68th and O for March Mayhem. Come early on Thursday and get a ping pong ball with a lucky team on it. And stay all day for prizes throughout and buzzer beater upsets. It's March Mayhem with 93.7 The Ticket for the NCAA tournament at Buffalo Wings and Rings, 68th and O.
Garage doors can break down or quit working at the worst times. At Doors Plus, they understand that a broken garage door sometimes means repair and not replace. Sometimes, all you need to make your door like new again is a few bolts, a realignment, or even a new balance. Trust the pros at Doors Plus to handle your garage door repair the right way so you can get on with your busy schedule. Visit them online at DoorsPlusLLC.com or give them a call today at 402-590-5800. Doors Plus. Garage doors and more.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Nottingham Forest plays Man City at 6:30 a.m., followed by Liverpool versus Southampton at 9 a.m. On Sunday, Tottenham plays Bournemouth at 9 a.m., followed by Man United versus Arsenal at 11:30 a.m. Liverpool currently leads the standings with 67 points. You can find all this and more at McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket, your place for English Premier League soccer, located at 8th and P.
Big box stores are tempting for buying equipment for your high schooler in sports or for yourself in your sports leisures. But buying new is awfully expensive. Why not go somewhere with new and used options? Play It Again Sports is quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And it's more than baseball, softball, and golf. They also have equipment for disc golf, fitness, hockey, and more. Plus, they're always buying products. Bring your gear you're done with and get trade money on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine. Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Are you a skilled mechanic looking for your next big opportunity? Constructors is hiring. We're looking for experienced mechanics to join our family-owned team. We offer competitive wages, great benefits, brand new service trucks, OEM-level diagnostic software, and career growth opportunities. Positions include lead and A-level mechanics for our shop and multiple field technicians. If you're driven and ready to grow with a company that's been around since 1908, apply today at constructorslincoln.com.
Ever wish you had another light switch on the other side of the room on a dark night? How much better would you sleep at night if you had a ceiling fan in your room? The High Electric Service Department is here to make your electrical what-ifs a reality. Whether you're looking to replace some outdated light fixtures or brighten up your counters with under-cabinet lighting, High Electric can handle all types of residential electrical installations and services. Give Erica a call today at 402-466-6606 or visit high-electric.com to get started.
Love is in the air, and so are big savings. It's the Big I Do event at Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions, April 4th through the 6th. For 3 days only, enjoy 20% off all engagement rings and wedding bands, plus exclusive bridal collections from our top designers. Whether you're saying yes or I do, shop now for the year's best prices and selection. April 4th through 6th, Sartor Heyman Jewelers, South Point Pavilions.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC, and March Madness is here, and Koppel is ready to rock and roll. We just closed the books on a tremendous February, and we're locked and loaded for a big March. True 0% APR is happening right now at Koppel on select new models. Plus, Koppel has over $10,500 off list on other select new models. Our pre-owned truck lot is full of late model low gyms as well. So make that short drive down 144th Street or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with a roof credit, 0% is standalone.
LES wants your feedback. Help shape your electric utility's direction and priorities by taking an anonymous online survey. Make your voice heard before the survey closes on April 30th at les.com/survey.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Make sure you check out all things The Ticket at theticketfm.com. Also, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, every frickin' where you get your podcasts. It's all over the place, ladies and gentlemen. All right. We had teased doing our tournament picks, but if you didn't notice, today's show is loaded. Seems to be a recurring theme, loaded show every single day, Jake. So on Thursday, when we are live with the people, starting at 11 a.m., we're going to get our picks out quick while we're rooting for
Chucky Hepburn?
He won't say it.
Creighton.
You said Creighton. You're a J-sker.
I'm a
All right. Then on Friday, we will do our picks for the women's NCAA basketball tournament featuring the Nebraska women's basketball team. My bias just showed through. But is it fair to say, and I know we've got to keep it brief here, is it fair to say that women's sports right now is winning more often than men's sports? Is that a fair thing to say?
That's a fair thing.
Okay. So here's why I believe that is. And I don't have the secret sauce. If I did, they'd be paying me $8-9 million a year for the next 9 years. But here's what I see. When you and I compared certain sports. I sat down. I said volleyball versus football, basketball versus softball. Baseball versus softball. By the way, remember baseball won the Big Ten championship last year. Okay, just off to a rough start. Hopefully that's all it is, but we'll see what it is. All right, you got men's basketball, women's basketball. So as I sat down and I compared, here are the things. I just simply wrote v-ball versus football equals, and I just wrote the first thing that came to my mind. Why volleyball wins more than football? And here's what I wrote. Expectation of winning. That was it. That was it. They walk on the court expecting to win. The volleyball team does. Let's be honest. If you're a Husker fan and we've got a lead, there comes a point in the game. Let me ask you, Jake, is there a point in games where you're kind of like, all right, are we going to blow it? Does that thought enter your mind?
After the last 8 years, absolutely.
That, to me, is the biggest difference between volleyball and football. There's other things as well. John Cook is a great coach. I believe Matt Rule's a good coach. We'll find out if he's a great coach. The ability to make changes in key moments. I mean, John Cook is recruited out of this world. Matt Rule's been doing pretty good again, we don't get out-talented very often. It's the expectation of winning, especially in the biggest moments against the best teams at the end of the game. Just going to let that lay there. Basketball. Men's basketball versus women's basketball. Now, to be clear, I still believe Fred Hoiberg's a good young coach. I'm glad we have him here. Rough season so far this year. They're going to play in the Crown Tournament. Hopefully they can finish strong. We were in the tournament a year ago. What was it? We won 22 games a year ago. All right. But women's basketball has been more consistent than men's basketball. Here's what I wrote down. Basketball, men's versus women's, equals. Amy Williams has done a great coaching job this year, made great adjustments, and found ways to deal with adversity. The injuries we alluded to earlier this year. When I think back to Matt Rule, again, he's a good coach. I don't know if he's great. There were times last year when we were flat out outcoached in certain situations. Now, we have upgraded the offensive coordinator. We have someone they're excited about in that building as the D coordinator. We have upgraded, with all due respect to everyone who coached last year, the special teams coordinator. The head coach is the same, but I believe he's looked in the mirror, been honest, and allowed himself to get better. But there were times last year when we were flat out outcoached in certain situations and key moments with the games on the line. Amy Williams has done a great job of dealing with 40% of her best players, if not more, being out this year. And while it was an up and down year, When Alexis and Britt were both healthy, and there's other players on that team that have contributed immensely as well, they've done pretty well, and that's against good competition. She has done a great job of making key adjustments as this season has gone on and unfolded, and the things that sticks out to me is dealing with injuries. Baseball versus softball. Now, keep in mind, baseball won the Big Ten title last year. We're approaching the midway point of the season. There's a lot of ball left to play, but here's what I wrote. Impact play. I wrote baseball versus softball equals impact players. Of course, I'm going to write Jordy Ball. Now, it's a team sport. It's not all about her. She does need some help when it comes to pitching. Other pitchers on that team that have talent and ability need to step up and find consistency. I wrote impact players. There's a lot of big bats on that baseball team, a lot of talented returning players on that team. They got to thaw the bats. They got to find a way to get some momentum when it comes to hitting on the baseball team. But for me, I wrote impact players. And here's my summation. 1, mental edge. Expectation of winning versus an expectation of losing. 2, coaching. Coaching freaking matters, exclamation point. Number 3, impact players. There's a reason some players, all right, pro and college now, get paid so much, and the expectation is that those players are going to make big-time plays in big-time games, especially in big-time situations. You got any final thoughts before we get out of here, Jake?
No, just absolutely agree with that. I think coaching is always the biggest deal for a college program in any sport, and the women's side has some pretty good coaches on their side right now.
I completely agree. All right, ladies and gentlemen, have a phenomenal day. I'll see you fine folks on Thursday. Go, Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bugs.
It's $5.99 barbecue time. Hurry to Hog Wild for a complete barbecue meal that's only $5.99. Get a one-meat sandwich loaded with our award-winning barbecue, plus your choice of a classic side and drink for just $5.99. Upgrade your sandwich to beef brisket for just $1 more. Join us for lunch or dinner in Lincoln at 3210 Cornhusker Highway. Order online at GoHogWild.com.
But don't be late, we close at 8.
Well, it's the middle of winter, the holidays are over, and the weather is unpredictable. Isn't there anything to look forward to? You bet there is. Cash Blast from your Nebraska Lottery is back. Until April 1st, buy a 2x2